midlifers, PJ here, and welcome to Midlife Models and another episode of the weekly update. So what's there to talk about this week? I'd like to discuss the humble Batmobile from the 60s TV series. So why do I want to talk about that? Well, this model, or this particular version, I got as part of a eBay job lot. I must admit, I spent about 15 quid, I think it was, for the whole lot. And this was in pretty crap condition. There's no Batman, there's no Robin, it's got a broken screen, there's no missiles, the wheels are dodgy, there's no beacon, there's no beacon cage, there's no chain spring. Other than that, it's perfect. So why? Why is because I priced up the parts that were missing from a well-known site that does parts for people like us that want to do refurbishments, reproduction parts, and the cost to me, including package, for the parts that I'm missing was £35. So it was cheaper to bid on another Batmobile, which I got for 20 quid, to get most of the parts. Still not all of them, mind you. So this can fast become a pricey hobby if you let it run away with you. This was one of my childhood favourite vehicles. I mean, if you're 50 plus, everybody knows this car. Everybody wants to own one. If you're a restorer or a humble amateur like me, you want to do one up. And a big shout out to Bob Willis. If you want to see this model being done and done well, go to Bob's site and you'll find that he's done a video where he's refurbished one of these and restored it, and it looks awesome. So I'm not going to be doing a video on that. I'll bring it up on a week-to-week basis in these weekly updates to show you what I've done to it. At this moment in time, I've got another version or another one of these coming through the post. I'll be tidying up the carcass of this one. So far I've stripped it and I've put some super glue and baking soda on one of the cracked joints. The body and chassis didn't fit very well, so I've tidied that up as per Bob's instructions, I'll add. It wants a bit more filing doing to it, and then it's going to be wire brushed, ready for priming. So that's that. So just to reiterate there, it can be quite pricey. I got that one, as I say, as part of a job lot, but I've paid another 20 quid for yet another version of that just to get parts of it, and I'll still have to end up getting some reproduction parts. So that's that. As I'm recording this, the part 2 of the Taxis and Jag Ruined to Refreshed is being produced. And next on the agenda for Ruin to Refreshed is a Corgi Toys Standard Vanguard 3, which looks like that. I didn't think I'd be able to get, this probably doesn't show very well on camera, but it's a pale green and a red gloss. I've got the red gloss, but I never thought I'd get a pale green colour in a can. But lo and behold, visiting one of my budget stores, B&M, Plasticoat do a pale green or a pastel green in a spray can. So I managed to get that. I've also managed to get a spray can of chrome and gold metallic. So the gold and chrome won't be used on this particular model, but certainly the pastel green will be. So that's the next project coming up in Ruin to Refreshed. That was, if you've seen the Jag episode, that was donated to me by my uncle, and the Vanguard was also part of that job lot. So as I've said in a Facebook page, I don't want him to think that I was just going to put these models in a cupboard and forget about them. I'm genuinely thankful that he donated his childhood collection to me, for me to be able to do these and then show him to him on Facebook. I think I've got another one here. Well, actually, I'll show you these ones. We've also got a Renault Fluoride 222. I'm going to have difficulty matching that. I don't even know what kind of green to call that, but it is a green. It's not a pastel green, it's a pale green. So we've got that one. We have got a Studebaker Golden Hawk. Both of these are Corgis, by the way. That's in a sky blue, and it almost looks like a metallic gold. So that should be fairly simple to do. I say fairly simple. The reason I say fairly simple, I'm always a bit dubious when I've got to mask something off. And people and the guys from other channels are also dubious when they have to do a split two-tone car, because of, you know, when you peel the masking tape off, you don't know what you're going to be left with. It may overrun and you have to strip the whole bloody thing down and start again. And it wouldn't be the first time I've had to do that. Also, as part of this donation, there's this beast, and this is a Corgi car transporter. It's a Carrymore, made in Great Britain, Corgi Major Toys, and the front end is a big Bedford tractor unit. It always amuses me when it says pattern pending. I'm not quite sure whether they ever got round to getting the pending pattern done. Who knows? But again, it's a very similar. Well, now I put it up for comparison, it's completely different. But it's also like a sky blue colour on the tractor section. I've got a yellow. And I keep shouting out about Bob Willis, but Bob's done a very similar tractor to this. This I won't be I won't be attempting this for a while, It's got brass parts on it. There's lots of rivets on it and pins and all sorts, and I need to get my skill level up better than it is at the moment before I want to attempt this. I want to do it justice and not ruin it. So that will be a future project. I don't know if I can lay my hands on any more that were donated. No. So there's that. That's going to be, as I say, a future project. Tools wise, I've been a passionate collector of parkside tools because they're budget tools. For example, this little mini cordless drill. I've had this 3 or 4 years now. Never let me down. And I've got the Parkside rotary tool, which again, I have to be fair, doesn't let me down. But they're big and they're bulky. So I've invested in the Dremel. You think I wore dentures? The Dremel Micro, and this is the model 8050. I got this off eBay. This was going for 102 English pounds and a few English pennies. Ordered it off eBay. It came within 2 days. Can't fault the eBay seller. I think it's Alan Watkins. I may have got that right. It's definitely Alan somebody or other. But yeah, this is the 8050. It comes with a charging stand. It's cordless. It comes with a few tools. But the beauty of this is you can hold it like a pen, where the big Parkside version you're struggling to hold it and do fine grinding, etc. So I don't know how long this will last. I'm going to use it for mainly cleaning chassis and bodies. But one of the things that I struggled with on the Jags and taxis was the combination of with the taxis of Matchbox and Corgi. And the reason I say that, I've got one here. I'll just grab this. This was an experiment. As you can perhaps make out, the original chassis, the original axle was held in place by 2 steel clamps, and I had a hell of a job getting that axle out. And the same with the one at the back. I haven't seen many people, and I've looked, I haven't seen many people attempt to do one of these where the wheels are clamped in with those steel clamps. And knowing what I know now, I can quite understand it. It's, I don't want to do anybody a disservice, but it's easier to go for one of the I'll just grab one if I can get hold of one. Yeah. Okay, it's easy to go for a model like that because you just grind the tips off and the axles fall apart, and you can replace these axles with, I've seen nails used and all sorts. In fact, I've used pot rivets. So these are fairly, in comparison to this, these are fairly simple to do. There's still work involved, and I do not discredit anybody for doing this, but this one is a pain in the arse, I have to say. I've sat here for 2 or 3 days figuring out how the hell am I going to achieve replacing these wheels. Now, what I will say is, when I measured this axle, it was 0.6 millimeters, and getting the material to replace the axle was, I was searching all over the place for hours and hours, and I just gave up, and I nearly did give up. But again, I found a pot rivet, a 1mm pot rivet. Now, I don't do these to meet anybody's anybody's appreciation other than my own, or anybody else's satisfaction other than my own. If people like what I do, that's great, and I'm grateful. So if I can get it to work and it looks half decent, that's good enough for me. So what we ended up doing was using the Dremel to remove the clamp, grind it away, and it took ages. I'm in no big rush to do another one of these, I swear, and there was some swearing. And then I used the Dremel again with a grinder just to open out the axle mounts so that this 1mm pot rivet shaft would fit into there. And I'm always happy to shout out somebody else who's done something similar to this, or something I've picked up. And of course, Marty has been using super glue and baking soda on a lot of his models, and I thought, well, I wonder if that will work in this instance, and lo and behold it did. And as I say, this is just an experimental piece. And then what I did, I took, once I'd got it was measured correctly and glued into place. Sorry, before I glued it into place, I took a, let me just grab this if I can get it, everything falling down. I know that some of the guys have got drill presses and things like that. I have a drill press, but it's not an advanced one really. So I took my other cordless drill, just spin this open. I do have a bench mounted vise in the shed. You may have seen it if you've seen any of the episodes where I'm spraying stuff. So what we've got there is a cheap nail punch. I've stripped up, it had like a rubber stroke plastic surround for gripping it with, and it's hollow at the end, or it's got a concave end. If you then put this on hammer, what I did was to hold the axle on top of a vise so it's got solid foundation, and then drill down with the hammer setting on, and it rounded the end. Obviously I was holding it with a pair of pliers, and it gave me the same effect as using a drill press. My drill press is not sturdy enough, so that worked out fairly well. So I'm quite pleased how that turned out, even though it's an experimental piece, and one axle's slightly longer than the other, and I had to drill the wheels out to 1mm to get the rivet through. But the wheels run. It's now got axles in there that look the part. I'm quite pleased with that. And I might, if anybody's interested, I'll demo what I did. Leave a comment and I'll do an how-to video on how I did it. It can be a bit drawn out, and I found myself going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down stairs, until I'd cracked what I wanted. So that was that. So this is when you get to the later Matchbox models, they've swapped over to this clamped-in axle, which, in all honesty, I bloody hate it. But there you go. We'll be moving back to something a little simpler in the next Ruin to Refreshed, and we'll catch you in a bit. Cheers. Welcome back, folks, to part 2 of the weekly updates, and a few things to cover in this clip. I thought I would give you firstly an update on the next Ruined to Refreshed, where I deal with 2 Corgi toys from the mid-50s. So we have done a Studebaker and we have done a Vanguard. So the Vanguard looks like that. It's been put back together with the interior plastic windows put in that have been polished. The wheels that are like mirrors now have been cleaned up using the micro Dremel, and we've also got a Studebaker put back to its original colours. Now there are various colours for these Studebakers, but that was the model that I got. The only customisation I did to it was I did the roof with a metallic gold as well as the fins, and that's also got the the Tamiya fine line grey primer, which I like as a base coat and finishing coat, strangely enough, for these types of chassis. So both these models are in the region of 65 years old, and they now look brand new. They're at about 80% completion. I've got the chrome work to do on them, the indicators, headlights, grills, etc. So that will be coming up in the next episode of Ruin to Refreshed. I went out today to a particular supermarket and found the famous foot-long hot dog jar. All I've got to do now is to find somebody who likes foot-long hot dogs so I can use the jar for dipping models in caustic soda. The lengths that we go to. So that's that. That's that. Update on the Dremel Micro. I don't know how I managed without this thing. I look back on some of the earlier videos that I've done using the Parkside rotary tool, and this this little device, whether it's the right way up or not, I'm not sure. It's my new favourite toy, it really is. I've used it for polishing these wheels. I've used it for grinding off the clamps on axles on the later Matchbox toys that drive me nuts. It's been really good. I'm really impressed. I have no affiliation with Dremel. I get paid nothing by Dremel. I wouldn't put something on one of these videos unless it was something that I found out to be really useful. So yeah, I like the Dremel. New cap, different shirt, no shave, still no haircut. However, I have found a young lady who has a website that I will link in this video, who has agreed to do me some t-shirts. So we're going to have some midlife models t-shirts. I can't imagine people are going to want any, but I'm going to have a couple. So they'll be coming up. And pretty much think that oh, I did have the second Batmobile arrive today. I have taken the parts from it that are missing on the original resprayed bottle, and it's brought my £35 reproduction parts list down to less than £10. Still got to get a robin, I've still got to get the missiles, I've still got to get the chain saw spring. The decals, they're not actually decals, they're stickers, which I've got a way of doing that. I've learned how to do that. I've also learnt how to speed up sections of a video using a power director. So you'll see instances of that when I'm spraying primer and gloss and the boring bits. So that's that. I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. Anybody's got any questions, leave it in the comments. Please like and subscribe and click the notification bell to see when we post something new. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.